Morning, pumpkin. Hi, how are you? Good morning. Let's try that again, shall we? Good afternoon. It's actually 12:15. Wow. Where's that morning gone? I'm on hot coffee again today because we're still really sunny and beautiful, but really chilly and really windy again. So not sure how much outdoorsy stuff we can do. But before I forget, David Wilkins commented after yesterday's video that his mum used to have this cookbook and he asked if there was a Monday pie recipe. So there it is. How awesome does that look? That's the other thing with these old cookbooks is the photography just cracks me up. Anyway, David, there you are, sir. Take a little screenshot and you can recreate your childhood memories of Monday pie. I love that. Cold roast beef and baked beans with scalloped potatoes on top. Brilliant. That's very cool. Also, Damon, you're very naughty. Damon wants me to make him some ginger biscuits, which then he can't actually eat because he's in Gloucester. So basically, he just wants me to feed my face with the ginger biscuits. So I do have a ginger nut biscuit recipe on my blog. However, hang on, I wrote it on the 7th of March 2013. So I'm going to remake it, and if it's terrible, then you'll never get to see that piece of footage. It will just disappear off my phone. And obviously if it's good, then I'll share it with you and shout it from the rooftops. I do know that the recipe is incredibly badly written. I didn't know how to write a recipe back in 2013. I have since learnt an awful lot about recipes. I think we may as well make a double batch, haven't we? Because, you know, carbs and lockdown and stuff. So yeah, I'll double the recipe just for science. And I need to go and clean that gate. That was top of my list. And that actually hasn't happened yet, so I must do that. The other thing is, up until very recently, I have been paying for a budgeting app, which is $7.99 a month it works out at. I've cancelled it and I'm going back onto paper. So, because I use a traveller's notebook for life organisation, what I figured is that I'm going to not pay $7.99 a month for budgeting software anymore, and the only reason is that I wasn't using the software fully. It's very confusing to learn and I never gave myself the time to sit down and learn it. So it is an excellent piece of software, like really clever, but it's too clever for my brain. So I'm going back to paper. So I bought these yesterday on Etsy. This is just it's a PDF, a digital download, and this morning I've printed them out. And I've made these two little booklets, and I need two because I have a business account and a personal account, so I'm going to run them kind of side by side but separately. So yeah, so that's something else I want to do today is I need to, these are just A4 pieces of paper that I've just folded together, but I need to get my sewing machine out and I need to sew down the spine of those to make them into little booklets that don't fall apart. So that's another nice little job for the day, and you'll get to meet my sewing machine, which is a piece of history and I freaking love it. It's just beautiful. You better be impressed because it's very cool. Right, it's now 12:20. Wow, I feel like I'm living in a vortex of time today. Spooky. Johnny will be home soon for his lunch. Kind of feel like I've only just had breakfast. So yeah, so there we go. Lots to do today. Well, making cookies, scrubbing a gate and sewing a booklet. It's not exactly a lot, is it? Let's be honest. Right, I'll finish my coffee and then go and sort that gate out before I do anything else. Ah, look at that nice, pretty clean gate. Good job, me. So there it is. What do you think? It's kind of gone blue, hasn't it, from those red onions, weirdly. So the taste of the tart is actually quite nice. It's quite wet, so it's not eggy solid like a quiche would be. It's much, much moister than that. It's nice. very sweet from the onions. I think maybe I could have done with putting a bit more salt and definitely more black pepper in. But the important bit, this here pastry, it's quite crumbly. It's amazing. And that is the best tasting pastry I have ever made. Wow. Have I nailed it? So that's a really nice little recipe. I want to pimp it. I want to do something else to that flavour, but I'd be more than happy to eat that again. And I'd be more than happy to make and eat that pastry again. Oh, and you remember that funny little egg galette thing I made? I scoffed that last night. It was delicious. It was good. I enjoyed it. Okay, so in this pan we got the butter, we got the treacle, and that's that black treacle. Should be golden syrup. I'm all out of that, so that's honey and some demerara sugar. And then first step is to melt that down. Does anyone else get more excited about the taste of cookies and cakes and stuff at this stage of the game than when they're actually baked? Like, cake dough to me is way nicer than eating like a sponge cake or something. God, don't you just want to dive in there? Then in here we got plain flour, we got a bit of salt, quite a bit of ginger, and then I'm going to pour that lovely syrup on in as well. Hi, Sassy. Okay, into the oven. Well, Damon, the kitchen is smelling pretty damn fine right now. I am not going to taste them until they're cold. I'm going to try really, really hard not to anyway. Okay, are you ready for this, people? This is my sewing machine. Were you expecting that? Isn't she beautiful? Oh my God. This thing costs 15 quid and I tell you what, it's just perfect. So there you go. That is a proper old school hand crank sewing machine. And do you know what? This thing is amazing. It sews through canvas, it sews through leather, it will easily sew through paper, I assume. I don't know that I've ever tried it, but I'm sure it'll do the job. And since owning this, I have bought an electric sewing machine as well, but I got rid of it because it couldn't do any of the above. This thing, it's a workhorse. So I've folded these together and I've trimmed the excess here off. So now, this was a printable that I got from Etsy. I think it was £3 something. So I've got the PDF, it's undated, so I can just keep using this now. So that was good value. And what I really like about it is that it's really minimal. A lot of them are really flouncy and fluffy and I'm not into all that. I just want something really clean, really simple, that doesn't tax my brain too much. So I'm just putting those little clips on to hold the papers in place. It's dusty. Turn it around. Look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, some of my hair's in there. Turn it around. The reason I'm turning it around at the end is it just kind of stitches over itself, so it holds the thread in place, so it won't like fray and pull apart. And that's it. Voila, scissors. Well, I think we can possibly add bookbinding to my list of quarantine skills, don't you think? So there it is, and there's that stitching. How freaking cool is that? I think I went a little bit off piece to there, but that doesn't matter. Certainly done the job. And there we are, one bound book. Right, let's do the other one. I don't know if I'm just stuck in the dark ages or if old books and old tools like this just really are better. Like, I would much rather use that than an electric one, wouldn't you? It's so freaking cool. Love it. Bless you. And it made light work of that, huh? So there we are, 2 new budgeting books. As I say, one will be personal account, one will be business account, and then each page is the same. I can just write a list here of all my direct debits and all my regular payments that need to go out. Anything that's specific to that month can be written there. This is going to be for my cash envelopes for my personal account. And then this will be for my holding account, which I think other people call a sinking account. I don't know why, I really don't like that term when it comes to money. Kind of makes me think of the Titanic. I don't want my money sinking. So I call it a holding account. And then at the front there's an overview page where you can write certain things that go on throughout the year. So I shall give this a go. I'll link to the Alibi Design Studio on Etsy, but I'll link to this particular PDF if anybody is interested. And if there are any other Traveller's Notebook geeks out there, let's talk Traveller's Notebooks, because I freaking love this thing. Yes, this makes me happy. And I'm not one of those girls that does the whole pretty thing and the whole stickers and all that. I don't get that. I'm very practical, very minimal. I just like to be organised. Because as you've probably worked out by now, I'm not naturally organised. So I have to use stuff like this to keep me on the straight and narrow. Guess where we are? So Johnny has just been home for his lunch and he tried the onion tart for the first time. He said the pastry was excellent. Oh, that makes me so happy. He said that the filling, Johnny is my biggest critiquer. He's not a critic, he's a critiquer. He's very, very honest. When I make a recipe, or actually when I do pretty much anything, if I ask for his opinion, he will absolutely give me his opinion, whether it's polite or not. So I truly trust what he says when he critiques my work. He said that the filling, it was kind of wet, but that wasn't a bad thing. He didn't think that needed to be changed. He just said it tasted a bit flat, and I'd agree with that. So I think I am going to make it again, and I'm going to try adding a little bit more salt, and I'm going to put a load of black pepper over the top of the tart too. And I think I might also try making it with whole grain mustard. Perhaps like spread the whole grain mustard over the pastry before you put the onions in. I think that might work, or mix it in with the eggs and the milk. Not sure. We'll give that one a go. But yeah. He said it was great. The ginger nut biscuits, they were really good too. So thanks for that, Damon. I'm going to make them again, because I think I said already that recipe was from 2013 and it's so badly written. Please don't go and read it yet until I've updated it. But the actual recipe part was really badly written, so I need to change that, and I'm going to put some new photos on it. So, do you know, I might even do that this afternoon because it's really cold out here. I don't want to be outside today. It's so chilly. So I think a day of making hundreds of millions of ginger nut cookies would be a day very well spent right now. So we've got 7 eggs today, plus we've got one of Jet's little fluffy feathers. Isn't that so pretty? I might have to keep that one for myself. It's just too cute to give away, I think. Thank you, Jet. Okay, so here's my little ginger nut cookie. It's not as crispy crunchy as I would like. I'm wondering if it's because I didn't do them very thin. So I'm going to tweak the recipe a little bit, and I'm also going to make them a little bit thinner and see if I can't get them to get to that nice snappy consistency that you get with a good shop bought ginger nut biscuit. But fear not, they taste really good. So I'm going baking again. Okay, second batch of cookies is done, so I'm now going to shoot these for the blog. If anyone else has the craving, sorry, I have to not breathe when I'm taking a photo. If anyone else wants the recipe for these ginger nut cookies, go and have a look in the description box down below this video, and I shall drop a link there So what I'm doing when I do a little close-up shot, I've only got 50mm lens on here, that's all I shoot with. So when I do a close-up shot, I look for the hero biscuit or cookie. So the one that's, in this instance, the one that's kind of got quite a lot of texture, there's a lot going on. So I put that in the position that I want the focus of the photo to be. And then I'm going to use a shallow depth of field. So I'm focusing on this, on the front of this here biscuit. And these ones will all be blurry in the background, and the ones in front of it will be blurry too. And perhaps just a little bit of texture in the back as well. That tin's quite interesting, isn't it? That's rather nice. Right, I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to use that as the backdrop because I've just realised in the back of that photo behind you, there's Johnny's coat rack and there's a bright red coat there, which is just killing my vibe. It's killing my vibe. And obviously that's kind of the angle that I use for filming and shooting, so let's make the most of that lovely backdrop. Drop just a little bit of flour around. Just move it to the front. And even though I'm not putting me in the shot today, I'm going to put my hand in it just because it gives that human connection. And even though it's just food, it's kind of nice to have that human connection in a food photo too. I think it kind of makes the food more relatable. And obviously I'm using these photos because I want people to see the photo and think, oh, I want to eat that, I want that recipe, I want to go and cook it. So it's kind of to entice them onto the website to come and find the recipe. So by putting a hand or a face or a person in a shot, it makes it more relatable to people. Well, that's the theory anyway. There are many, many, many theories. It's kind of like advertising or marketing. There are many, many theories to it all. I like to include a human touch. Right, I'm going to clear up here quickly and then I'm going to scoot on out into the garden. I'm going to go and do some weeding around the onion sets that I planted the other day. So first, the mess. Let's clear it up. Okay, I've come out of the little allotment just hoping that I'm out of the wind enough for you guys to hear what I'm saying. So because that was rotivated in there for potatoes, that just means that Johnny went over the grass and weeds with a machine that basically just cut it all up, churned it all up and buried the roots back in the ground. So I'm pulling out roots like this, which as you can see are already sprouting. Now what I should have done before I put those onions in was to go through the soil and get this stuff out. And I didn't, I was lazy, I kind of didn't even think about it. But I've just noticed that there's stinging nettles, there's docks, there's some really hardcore weeds coming up in between those tiny little onion sets, and an onion isn't going to stand a chance when it's got that right next to it, grabbing all the water, all the nutrients, all the everything, and all the space, I guess. So I just thought I'd come out here and just try and get some of these out, because I'd quite like onions rather than, well, I don't even know what that is. Looks like those things on Harry Potter, the screaming things in pots. What were they called? So that is why I am in weeding a patch that I only planted a few days ago. Annoying is why. I mean, look at that. That is just so well established. That's just going to starve those poor onions. I need to just settle into this job, so I'm going to turn you guys off and I'm going to put my audiobook on and just lose myself in the weeds. Oh, you lot are going to love that. They're finding all those bugs already, look. Now chickens, I just need to learn you up so that you actually go and dig up all the weeds, and that would be even more perfect. Oh, I tell you what, I'm itching to get some plants in the ground. It's like I'm trying to find jobs to do outside, and I know that as soon as those plants are ready and I can start putting them in, it's just going to be mental the amount of work there's going to be to do. We had a frost this morning. It was only a light frost, but it was still a frost. So if we plant things out too early and they're not hardened off and then they get a frost, like, they're going to die, which is a complete waste of seed, time and energy really. So this is a really tricky, kind of impatient time in a gardener's year. Well, at least it is for me. I just want to get the stuff in the ground, and never more so than this year. It's like, I just want to plant some food. Well, there's dinner sorted. Ta-da! So yeah, we're reckoning that's probably 5 or 6 portions there. I put 3 portions that were left over from the bigger tray in the freezer, and I've just scribbled on it so Johnny knows that he can just grab one of those if I'm not around and he wants a meal. And having an organised freezer, God, it doesn't half make life easier for me and for him, because he doesn't understand. Well, to be honest, if I don't label things, I don't understand what they are. So it's really good that he can just come in here and have a look and grab grub. So let's get that into oven. This is my fancy, well, one of my fancy Neff ovens. I have a second one down there. That's my fancy Neff hob. And this is an extractor fan, and it actually sucks the steam and fat and whatever down, and then there's a pipe that runs underneath that cupboard and out the exterior wall. Very, very clever. That's my Neff dishwasher. That's my Neff fridge freezer, and I won all of this, believe it or not, in a competition. I won £10,000 worth of Neff gear about maybe 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, so that was quite cool. This is the Neff slide and hide oven, because that door slides in underneath. That's kind of like their showcase project. But before I had this oven, I had a £26 oven that I got on eBay that did the job. It was not as fancy. It wasn't a steam oven like this one, but it did the job. And I had a free hob that came out of one of the cottages here on the farm. And I didn't have a dishwasher. This is the first ever dishwasher I've owned. Unbelievable. How did I live so long without a dishwasher? And the fridge freezer we had before was a Samsung one, and I got given that to do a review piece on it as well, which is, yeah, it's a fantastic fridge freezer that. Actually, question for you. Lovely stainless steel fridge freezer that's like, this doesn't wash off. I've heard baby oil. I've never tried it. I don't have any baby oil. Would cooking oil do? Coconut oil? Olive oil? Because doesn't that look horrible? I could Google it, or I could just ask you guys. And I reckon you'd know more than Google anyway. Hello, girls. Looks like there's a light on in my polytunnel. That's sweet. So that's it for today, lovely people. I've just eaten a rather large serving of that cottage pie. Now I just want to curl up and go to sleep. So thank you for hanging out, and I will catch up with you in the next video, which will no doubt come along tomorrow. If you've enjoyed this one, then please do whack the thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to the channel too. It really helps me out and helps me out with this channel. So thank you in advance for that. That's awesome. Have a lovely day, have a lovely evening, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. All the best.